corn. Will it float? It sank right to the bottom. Milk does the body good, but will it float?
More dense than the water, so it sank. Oh man, who got that one right? Who? Good evening, everybody. Guys, how was your first night of VBS? Was it so awesome? Did you guys all get tie-dye shirts? I better see everybody in this room wearing a tie-dye shirt tomorrow, or I'm going to be extremely disappointed. All right. So this year, our theme is science. And as you know, there are many different kinds of scientists, people who apply science, right, and use science in their daily lives. So as it turns out, we have an actual physicist among us. It's pretty cool. Mr. Bob Gormley, would you join me on the stage? We're gonna ask give him a round of applause. We are going to ask Mr. Bob just a couple of questions and see what it's like to be a physicist. Mr. Bob, what is a physicist?
A physicist would be a person who studies how things move, a person who studies forces, electricity, magnetism, gravity, stuff like that. A person who studies really small stuff that everything's made up of, like atoms and even smaller things, what are called particles, and how they move, what are called waves and fields and things like that. So,
cool. So if I were a physicist and I were to go to my job as a physicist, what kind of things would I do at my job?
you might make all kinds of cool things that we use in our world. Everything, physics is behind automobiles, it's behind airplanes, it's behind microwave ovens, it's behind computers, it's behind cell phones. Physics is behind almost everything that's technological in our world. There's physics involved in almost all of it. Even your refrigerator requires it.
So, Mr. Bob, that sounds like a lot. Would I have to go to school for like 20 years to be a physicist?
Actually, you would have to go to school for a while. It is fairly involved, and it does require a whole lot of math. But it's very rewarding if you enjoy it. If you really enjoy getting down into exactly what makes things work at the most fundamental levels, that is physics.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bob. Everybody give it up for Mr. Bob, our resident physicist. Awesome. Is Dr. Zwick around here somewhere? Where is Dr. Zwick? Dr. Zwick, would you join me on the stage to tell us about our missions project this year? Give Dr. Zwick a huge round of applause. That is a beaker.
Good evening, everyone. So last year we had a project from the girls' orphanage. I go and see periodically, and amazing how much money you raised, and the girls are very happy to get fresh water for the first time in their life. Things we take for granted. Well, this year I was asked to help them figure out what else they might need, and they came up with a number of smaller projects, so it isn't quite one huge project. So, and I guess we'll see how far the money's raised, how far we go down the list. These are smaller projects. And the first, as Donna mentioned, was bed nets. And we may think, well, bed nets aren't all that important, but they're extremely important in a country like Bangladesh, which is basically, to us, a jungle. And there's mosquitoes everywhere. And having gone over there without bed nets, it's a terror. Most of the places I stayed did not have bed nets, and to stay in a room at night, you have to have, they call them bombs, and the chemicals go off, and they smell terrible, and they will kill, and you have to go back about an hour, and you see piles of mosquitoes. So you can get about a glass full of dead mosquitoes every night. Well, if you didn't do that, those lots of mosquitoes would be feeding on you all night long, and it's miserable. They bite, they sting, they burn, you get welts, you scratch. It's miserable, you don't get much sleep. And so that's life over there without bed nets. And over there, unfortunately, the mosquitoes carry diseases, some of which I've actually had, but they have some actually very bad ones called dengue and encephalitis, as well as malaria and a few other things. So it's not a good world to live without bed nets. So the last bed nets that these girls had were back in 2017, and they're worn out. They don't usually last that long. They're afraid. They've got big holes in them, so mosquitoes take advantage of that. So that is the first goal, a project. Another one that came up was the internet. Over there, the big capital city has almost 30 million people, and it's growing all the time. But, so all the resources of the country are basically to that center area. There's not a lot of resources out in the rural area where the girls live. And there's a boys' orphanage a couple rice paddies away, which also doesn't have much resources. But the administration is in the capital city, which almost all of the administrations are, but it's a long ways from the village. They would like to have better communication. They would like to be able to pray with them, to see visually what the problems are, to be able to raise money and correct things quickly, but they can't do that much without an internet. When I Zoom with them, they do have internet. It takes a long time to get it coordinated, and they have to pay it by the hour. It's extremely expensive to do it that way, so they're hoping to get a better internet system. So like something like a modem would really help, and some other things like that. They have a great prayer life, and they would like to coordinate the prayer life in the capital city to the boys and girls orphanages. Their prayer life in the village is pretty strong. It would make us feel very weak if we listened to how they pray. But it is still very disconnected. So that would be a second project. A third, something called a wardrobe. Now, some of the kids can answer this question. When you get home from school, when you want to change clothes, where do you hang your school clothes? I don't hear anyone. Okay, well, they don't do that over there. Does anyone know why? Yeah, they don't build buildings with closets over there, so there's nothing to put your stuff on a hanger. So when the girls and the boys change their clothes, if they only have a couple sets of clothes to start with, but they'll throw their clothes on the floor. Well, the floor is very damp over there, and things rot. And also, as I'll go on later, there's a lot of creatures that live on the floor. So it's not a good place to put clothes. So when the girls' orphanage started, they only had like 8 girls. And so one wardrobe was bought, and that was pretty stuffed, pretty full. Well, now they got 40 girls. And there's 4 bedrooms. Each girl, there's 10 girls in a bedroom. They got 5 bunk beds in each of the rooms. There's room for 1 wardrobe. But 3 of the rooms have nothing. So it's sort of a problem. So they're requesting two or three more wardrobes to help out with getting the clothes so they don't rot, and also get pestilence in them. Because you don't want to put on clothes where there's lizards in them and spiders and other things. Not very comfortable. And then there's something called dish racks. Now, our kitchens have lots of storage space. If you go in the kitchen, you got racks in the walls, you got all sorts of stuff. They don't have that over there. These buildings have no furniture and nothing to store anything to. So a dish rack really means a piece of furniture with some drawers in it or some shelves to put the dishes and the bowls and the glasses. Now each of the girls is assigned one glass and 2 dishes. But because of years going on, things get broken and frayed. Sometimes they're actually sharing glasses and sharing dishes, which is not very hygienic at all. But when they wash their dishes after the meal, they have no place to put them. So interestingly, I found out they put them on their bed. And when they go to bed at night, they leave them on their bed. And of course, they fall off in the night and they land on the floor. And if they don't get broken, again, you have lizards and creatures licking them and spiders. The spiders there are pretty big. They can actually lift weights. So it's kind of not a good place for anything. And there's a lot of diseases in the water there, and certainly in the dampness. And so a lot of the girls particularly get ill with stomach flus, and they believe it's really from that process where they end up having their dishes and glassware on the floor at night. Then there's something called bookshelves. Again, they don't have any furniture, but all the girls are sent to school, which is not common there, but we want them to get a good education. It's not free, so it's expensive. But they bring home books, and they bring home little notebooks, and they have to do a lot of work on them. And they, because there's no furniture, and that's typical of life over there. You sit on the floor doing everything. So when they dine, they sit on the floor, and when they do their homework, they sit on the floor for the most part. And but when they get through with their books, they have no place to put them. And one thing, again, if you leave them on the floor, they're going to rot, and they're going to get fungus, they're going to deteriorate, and any ink will start to blur. It's not a good situation. And 2, everyone's in a hurry in the morning. You can imagine having 2 or 3 kids in the house. You have 40 girls in the house running around. Within a half an hour, we're having to leave to go to school. You want to know where your books are specifically, which classes you're going to. So it would make a lot less tension in the home if it was a little bit more organized. So they're really wanting a couple more bookshelves. Lastly, the same thing with shoes. Now, when I was over there one Christmas, I took the girls shoe shopping, which I'll never do again. Taking 40 girls shoe shopping, it took all day. I was more exhausted than they were. I was wiped out. But they got tropicals, which are really sandals, and they have school shoes specific because they have to wear certain uniforms. And then they have slippers and things like that. But there's no place to put them except on the floor, and you don't really want to leave them on the floor because creatures tend to live in them at night, whether it's a spider, sometimes even snakes can get in them, other things. So it's not a safe place, but you have a rack, you kind of protect them. And again, you don't have the rot that goes on when you just leave things on the floor. They're concrete floors, and they're cold in the winter. Not very cold there, but it's very damp all the time. The floors seem to never really dry out. So that's another request, is to get a shoe rack. Actually, they probably only need 1 shoe rack, I guess it is. They have 1, but they need 1 more. Lastly, if there's any overflow money, as I mentioned, they're really low on dinner plates and glassware, having to share things. So it'd be nice not to have to share that with the girls. But also the poor cook. There's now 2 cooks to help 40 girls, but they only have like 3 pots. So they have to do multiple shifts of cooking just to serve 1 meal. And it would really help the chefs. We've lost a lot of chefs over time because they can't handle the constant work. So if we got a few extra pots, they could do everything at once. And the girls could have meals together all of a sudden. So those are the requests. Sort of very requests. They're all sort of small projects, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zwick. So not every kid in the world has the blessings that we do. And so it's important to remember those kids around the world that are just like you, that don't have things that you guys have that you don't even think about. So let's keep them in mind this week. Let's be praying for them. One housekeeping item, and then we'll move on to prize drawing. So I'll have Miss Donna come up join me on stage. Group leaders, if you still have, what was it, Pat?
The names of the children that need to go in for the drawing.
Prize drawing names to get to Miss Pat, please do that now. If there's any missing names, please get those to Miss Pat now, or your kids won't get in the drawing. Okay, I think we're ready.
Did we didn't know what we raised tonight though, did we? Okay, let's put that up there. How much was raised tonight? The Rebecca Wilson Home for Girls, Home of Love. So we're going to be received $52. Okay. So this first level where Pastor Brad's going to get dunked. The mosquito nets are going to cost $270. That's all, really. That's not bad at all. We're going to be able to help 40 girls, plus I think some boys too, right? Yes. Plus there's another orphanage that's kind of nearby that has boys in it. And so for $270 we can help all of those kids. So that's a great thing. So looking forward to that. So we are on our way to dunking Pastor Brad and to helping these kids stay healthy. Also, just a little reminder tonight, I have everybody can take home one of these little mosquito. They're like a little mosquito, and it's a clip, and it's just to remind us that we are raising money for the mosquito nets. So grab one on your way out. But we have a prize drawing right now. Tonight we are giving away. Did you guys tie-dye tonight? Okay. I got some tie-dye fidget spinners. What do you think? All right, let's draw some names. Now, yeah. We can leave them in the box. Yeah, that'll make it easy. All right, now, I just want to let you guys know that also your names go in every night, and then I'm going to take all of them and put them in another bucket, and over the week, every night you come, you get your name in there, and it gets added to the big bucket. Now, what's the big bucket for? Well, it's for the Friday night party that we're going to have a jury pool for the family. Yeah. And so that night, we will be drawing names for some other prizes, bigger prizes. Now, the big prize this year, okay? 6 kids are going to get a plane ride. Like in a real plane, yes. So, yes. So that's big stuff, you guys. So come every night, because every night you get your name put in there. And plus, yes, you have a question? Oh, it'll go up in the air and go around, and it'll bring you back where you take off from. Yeah. So, some of the parents are like, hey, plane ride. All right, so here we go. Here we go. We have Cashton, Lukey. Where are you, buddy? Well, you get one of these. It's in a box. Yep, you get one of these. Okay, who else is going to get some? Lauren Moeller. Yay. And Jackson, Campbell Kaiser. Where are you? Jackson. And Juliana Goldie. And John Blackwell. And Samantha Marshall. And Brianna Cunard. Yep. Where are you, Brianna? There you go. And Peter Blackstone. Where are you, Peter? Nice. How many more we got there? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. You got 4. No, but this is the one that goes with it. I took it out. This is our sample. This is our sample fidget. We're giving away the sample. We're giving away all of it. All right. Braden Hardcastle. Madeline Horing. Maya. Where's Maya? Yes. No, Maya. I'm sorry. You didn't put your last name on, and I can't remember it right off the top of my head. All right, is that it? No, we got one more? All right, the last one. Here we go, guys. Drum roll. Desiree David. All right.
Awesome. We're going to do one song since we ran a little bit long and we're late and we got parents that are about to riot. One more, I just have the dropsies. One more housekeeping thing. Children, stay in the sanctuary until you hear your name called. Don't leave. Don't go rogue. You have to stay here until you hear your name called, okay? We're going to sing a song, and then we're going to dismiss. Let's do We Raise.
He's running
all tomorrow night for more fun. Remember, stay here until you hear your name called.
Malachi, come back here. Kayla Knight.